Hi, I'm Cheryl Fox. Welcome to On the Red Dot. It's a final episode in our series, Friends for a Better World. And this week, we take you to Cambodia, where a social enterprise started by a Singaporean there is making waves. Backstreet Academy collaborates with Cambodians who have a special skill and links them up with tourists looking for an authentic experience. The Tonle Sap River cuts across the Cambodian capital, Phnom Penh. A skyscraper now marks the bustling West Bank. But on the other side, a fishing community quietly carries on with its simple way of life. Ramon goes fishing at the crack of dawn. The 29-year-old does this every day, wife and kids in tow. The boat is their only home. Ramon travels to the Mekong River to fish. The catch has been poor lately, barely enough to feed his family. His eldest daughter, Nori Sa, is 6 years old. She's too afraid to go to school, but is completely at ease on a boat. But having young children in such a small space means accidents are bound to happen. The son of a fisherman as well, Ramon was born on a boat and started fishing when he was 15. Ramon's best haul ever was 30 kilograms of fish in one day, worth about $150. But that was during the high season, which runs from December to June. During the off-season, even the best fishermen fall short. To get his family through the low season, Ramon is turning to a different kind of catch. He now hosts tours for up to 4 hours each time, teaching them how to fish with a net.
I've fished before, but with the rod and the reel, and when I was a kid, so not with a net. I've always seen people fishing with nets, on television, and a handful of times when I've traveled before, so I'm sure that it's not as easy as the people who've been doing it their whole lives make it look, so I'm looking forward to seeing how difficult it really is.
So here we have to separate one by one to make sure that it is not stuck together.
A translator helps Ramon communicate with the tourist. Ramon starts Carl on a small net that weighs 7 kilograms. The trick to a good throw lies in the intricate layering of the net to ensure that it opens up fully.
Yeah, it's a good one, a big one after the net. So we will wait until the chain reaches the bottom.
Okay.
And then we will start to pull it back.
Unfortunately, the net is entangled down the riverbed. With the tube in his mouth as its only air supply, Ramon dives underwater to free the net. Minute by minute, the tension grows. About 5 minutes later, the net is free. Like the tube, these classes are a lifeline for Ramon. Each tourist pays $28. More than half of that goes to Ramon. That's enough to double his income in these lean months.
Not too shabby, huh?
តាំងពីមានដូចថាកម្មវិធីនេះមកខ្ញុំបានហូបគ្រប់គ្រាន់បងវាតិចណាស់បងពេលដែលខ្ញុំអត់បានដឹកភ្ញៀវក្នុងខែបានតែ20,000អីទេបងពេលដែលខ្ញុំអត់បានភ្ញៀវបើសិនជាបានដឹកភ្ញៀវដូចខែហ្នឹងអាចឡើងដល់ទៅ40,000 វិញ
At the end of the class, Ramon shows Kyle how fishing is done with even bigger nets, which requires 2 people. And then, a surprise.
Oh, man. Oh, you got come Yeah. Oh, look.
The Mekong prawn is a prized catch and can fetch up to $5 in the market. More than 30 people have experienced a fishing lesson so far. The highlight for many of them is the meal prepared on board by Ramon's wife.
បានខ្ញុំមានថវិកាច្រើនមកអាចហូបសាច់ចំណានទៅមានទឹកក្រូចមានអីហូបហើយមិនវាសំចៃគេថាហូបត្រីហ៎បងបាទ
Even though Kyle only caught 2 fish, the whole experience has been an eye-opener.
Coming on this fishing boat, I think you see a little bit more of what it takes to make it in this part of the world instead of just the nice times that can be seen. It's more of a realistic version of Cambodia. So it's good to see, and it makes you a little bit more grateful if you have a different lifestyle. It makes you realize how hard other people's lives can be. And I think it is important to try to speak with the population as much as possible because, again, if you just go and do the typical tourist type of things, then you don't always get the opportunity to, ask, so, what do you think about this? Or, what are your plans? Or, what's your generation do for fun? And that stuff, too, gives you a better sense of a place.
Ramon's family have been fishermen as far back as he can remember, but he says that he doesn't want his children to follow in his footsteps.
គឺថាខ្ញុំនៅនេសាទនឹងវាវេទនាដែរបងខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យកូនខ្ញុំទៅមានអនាគតផ្សេងពីហ្នឹងបងបើមានលុយគ្រប់គ្រាន់ខ្ញុំនឹងទៅភ្លាមបងខ្ញុំចង់ណាស់បងរាល់ថ្ងៃហ្នឹង
That dream is still far away, but for now, the extra income has enabled Ramon to buy a battery to power the boat. But it's not just about making more money.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Shukran.
Ramon's friendly encounters with the tourists have broadened his world and given him a newfound confidence. Ramon's fishing class is just one of the many classes offered by Backstreet Academy. Up next, we follow its Singaporean co-founder Jamin as he tries out new courses for the academy. Welcome back. Jamin is one of the creators of Backstreet Academy, a social enterprise that helps Cambodians with a special skill earn a better living. By networking with others who are out to make a difference, this young Singaporean has set up shop in 3 countries and counting. Jamin isn't your typical university graduate. Instead of joining the rat race, the 25-year-old Singaporean earns just $500 a month. So he can do something he believes in. Jamin co-founded Backstreet Academy in Phnom Penh and several other cities. It's a social business that matches poor local craftsmen with tourists looking to learn a traditional skill.
So this is our Phnom Penh office, which we rent for $150 a month. And this is the logo I've designed. There's a letter B here and a letter A here, which stands for Backstreet Academy. And the houses here, made of zinc sheets, are very typical of houses in the developing country cities that we look for. And the construction crane here, it represents development. and how these crafts, these traditions, these people, they're all not going to be around if we don't see them and see their crafts.
Jamin hired a Cambodian manager so he could communicate with the locals. He now counts Kin Lay as one of his closest friends in Phnom Penh. Since last year, Jamin has spent most of his time away from home.
I have been a very independent person since my parents have been working overseas since 7 to 8 years ago, and I've always traveled alone, doing things on my own. Like you miss the friends, the family, especially Singapore food. And when you're in these countries, although you do make new friends and new connections, we are moving really quickly. So we have to change a new city every 3 months. And in a short time of 3 months, it's very difficult to make new connections or in-depth friendships.
But for the budding entrepreneur, feeling homesick and taking a lower pay are all part of the deal.
Entrepreneurship itself is living a few years of your life like nobody would, so that you can live the rest of your life like nobody can. And it's not just in terms of the money, it's also in terms of the fulfillment, the things you have done, the differences you have made to communities and to the world.
Jamin is driving the quick expansion of Backstreet Academy. Since February, it's set foot in Nepal, India, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Aside from networking with local NGOs to find potential hosts, Jamin checks out markets like this one to see what products are on offer and who he can collaborate with. Jamin has been involved in social enterprises since his first year at the Singapore Management University. Last year, he and his Nepali friend Akash received training in social entrepreneurship from the Singapore International Foundation and won a 10,000 Singapore dollar grant.
We are working in developing countries like Nepal. We found a lot of craftsmen who are earning very little just making their products. And we thought that this program could immediately raise their income levels, help them to gain confidence by interacting with people, and we could eventually invest in them as well. And for tourists, we saw from our own perspective how great an experience this could be, connecting with local people, having a really unique experience, learning something traditional, something that connects with the local culture. The craft itself is very important. It has to be interesting to tourists and somewhat intrinsic to the country or the city's tradition and culture.
What could be more local in Cambodia than eating tarantulas? These 8-legged creatures are a delicacy here. More Cambodians started eating them in the 1970s when the Khmer Rouge was in power and there was a shortage of food.
These are doing the cooking, inside cooking.
Before Backstreet Academy rolls out a course, Jamin or his staff are taken through the whole process to make sure the best bits are in and the boring bits are out.
It's leaking juice, man.
To appeal to tourists, Jamin is branding this cooking class the Fear Factor Challenge.
We put ourselves in the shoes of tourists. We would understand what they would want from this experience. And then we would let the host know that these are the things that has to go into a course. We'll create a course structure for them to follow, and we'll train them accordingly.
It's moving, it's working already.
The Fear Factor Challenge takes up to 2 hours and costs $16 per person. Most of the other courses cost below $20.
Fried to perfection. I don't know what to make of this.
The host gets about half the course fees. Backstreet Academy takes 10 to 15%. The rest goes to the translator and the tuk-tuk driver who picks up the tourists and sends them back to the hotel.
Most of the tourists, their time in every city is very limited, and they want to have the best experience they can get for every activity they do. So we want to ensure that every experience is as seamless as possible, and it must be an unforgettable memory for them.
Good.
Pottery making fishing, and Cambodian boxing among the most popular courses at Backstreet Academy. The business has yet to turn in a profit in every city, but the classes are getting rave reviews on travel site TripAdvisor. The Academy has been voted one of the top 5 attractions in Phnom Penh.
It's nice to do something that is an activity with Cambodians. It's not just tourists buying things from Cambodians, but we are speaking together, talking, learning about their lives, their culture, why they volunteer here. It's just important.
From strangers to friends, from making a transaction to forming a connection, all in just a few hours. But the encounter benefits both sides for much longer.
We see the tourists really having a very good time connecting with the locals, and when they have a connection, they continue to build on their relationship even after they have left the city. The hosts and the facilitators are also very, very happy that they get to know tourists all over the world, and their lives are significantly changed because of the additional income that they earn and the confidence they get from interacting with people and learning English from the entire program.
Now that's what I call a win-win situation. Up next, we meet a little man with big dreams, and we find out how Backstreet Academy is helping him reach his goal. Welcome back. We've seen how social enterprise Backstreet Academy, through their collaborative efforts, has helped improve the lives of poor Cambodian craftsmen. But poverty is just one of the many challenges faced by our next profile. Here's his story. For the first 20-odd years of his life, Sokchi was jobless. 2 bad falls in his childhood stunted his growth. When he was 17, a cow trampled on him, leaving him deformed and unable to do heavy-duty work.
នៅផ្ទះខ្ញុំអត់មានធ្វើអីគ្រាន់តែមើលការខុសត្រូវក្មួយនិងមើលដាំស្លតិចតួចនៅផ្ទះ
But Sokchi wanted to be independent. The turning point came in 2008 when he took a course at NGO Khmer Life to learn how to carve coconut husks. It was hard work. Sokchi almost quit.
ខ្ញុំបានថាជំរុញខ្ញុំមកវិញខ្ញុំអត់មានការងារបន្ត
The 36-year-old now works at the Khmer Life shop in Phnom Penh, which sells Cambodian handicrafts. He spends 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, making keychains and ornaments. For that, he's paid $50 or about 64 Singapore dollars a month, plus food and lodging. Sokchi is grateful for all of this, but he has bigger dreams.
ខ្ញុំមានកាក់បខ្ញុំនៅក្នុងចិត្តខ្លួនឯងខ្ញុំមានការងារដូចគេអញ្ចឹងក៏តែខ្ញុំខាងចម្លាក់ឈើឯងខ្ញុំព្រោះអីខ្ញុំអត់មានអ្នកជំនួយនិងអ្នកជួយមានតែខ្ញុំតែឯងខ្ញុំធ្វើអត់ចេញខ្ញុំធ្វើ
Sokchi is now a step closer to his dream thanks to a new source of income. He's joined Backstreet Academy as a host, teaching tourists how to carve keychains and such out of coconut husks. As host, Sokchi is entitled to $6 per student. But because the lessons are conducted during his working hours, Khmer Life claims all of his takings. The Backstreet Academy pays Sokchi an extra $1 to $2 per student so he can work towards his dream of setting up his own workshop.
ខ្ញុំឲ្យទឹកភ្ញៀវមកខ្ញុំសប្បាយព្រោះអីភ្ញៀវគាត់ចូលចិត្តខ្មែរគាត់ចូលចិត្តនឹងការងារគាត់ចង់ឃើញរបស់ដែលខ្ញុំធ្វើមកពីសិង្ហបុរីគាត់ឲ្យខ្ញុំសប្បាយចិត្តគាត់សប្បាយរហូតគាត់និយាយសប្បាយរហូតជាមួយខ្ញុំ
Aside from new friendships, Sokchi is also gaining respect for his craft.
When people actually learn how to do it and see how they do it, they appreciate the product a lot more.
Nice. Thank you.
and their skills and effort, and they see them more of like a master rather than just a producer of something.
At 5 p.m., Sokchi returns to his room, a rundown shack that gets wet after heavy rain. A thrifty man, he hardly goes out after work, choosing instead to watch television or surf the internet on his phone. Occasionally, Sokchi gets invited to a wedding. He hopes to send out invitation cards of his own one day and has become friends with a woman online.
ខ្ញុំបងខ្ញុំបង្កើតនេះផលិតផលហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអាចរកគ្រួសារខ្ញុំគិតឃើញដែរក៏ប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំអត់ទាន់ហ៊ានសួរគេព្រោះអីខ្ញុំចេះដល់សួរគេទៅគេសើចចំអកឲ្យខ្ញុំមកគេថាខ្ញុំមក
For now, Sokchi spends Sunday with his friend Dara. They met 3 years ago after Dara started working at a nearby NGO. Today, Dara is taking Sokchi to soak in the atmosphere at a fairground. The two friends talk about anything and everything, including Sokchi's future plans.
ខ្ញុំចង់ជួបគេក៏ប៉ុន្តែលោកគេមិនចង់ឃើញខ្ញុំព្រោះអីខ្ញុំប្រាប់រូបរាងគេប្រាប់រូបរាងពីខ្លួនខ្ញុំនឹងប្រាប់គេថាខ្ញុំទៀបគឺទឿខ្ញុំអត់ស្អាតទេបាទព្រោះហើយក៏គេថាមិនក៏ដោយឲ្យតែយើងឲ្យបានជួបគ្នាសិនអីចឹងគេថាចឹង
Sokchi has come a long way from those days of being dependent on his family. Thanks to Backstreet Academy, craftsmen like him can carve out a better living, while tourists catch a glimpse of the real Cambodia. Locals and foreigners, united in a fight against poverty, extending a hand of friendship to each other, and shaping a better world. The SIF's Young Social Entrepreneurs Program welcomes young changemakers to make friends for a better world. Applications for 2015 are now open at www.sif.org.sg/YSE. If you'd like to relive this week's episode or catch any of our previous shows, just head over to these websites and you'll be able to watch it online. Till we meet again next week, I'm Cheryl Fox. Take care.